Sorry for any miscommunication on the part of when we actually started, whether it's 7 or 8. Now I take the heat for that. But anyway, let's get started since it's already late. I'll read the first notice for Paul Avenue, which is an NOI. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, the Wetlands Protection Act, Lakeville Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on June 28, 2022 at 7 p.m. at Lakeville Police Station on a notice of intent. The applicant, Gary Amaral, is proposing a 4-foot high dry masonry block wall along the Long Pond shoreline. Project is located on 8 Paul Avenue, that's Lakeville, and is identified as Assessor's Map 36, Parcel 2, Lot 8. Good
Does
evening.
anybody need a copy of the plans in front of them?
We have them.
Well,
Good.
can I have a
Unless-
little one, please?
Unless you've made any changes.
Yeah, I got that somewhere.
Thank you.
All right, good evening. My name is David Santos with Prime Engineering. I'm here representing the property owner and applicant at 8 Paul Ave. We are proposing to do to construct a 4-foot seawall along the entire length of the shore on the property line. As you can see on the plan there, we are proposing to extend from the northern property line down to the southern property line, and that includes stairs as well. This is a dry masonry wall, so there's not going to be any mortar or anything like that. Just masonry block with the option of a bond, right? Something like that. We have cross sections of each area. We have a cross section of the wall. We're proposing to backfill the wall there and loam and seed a new lawn that's abutting Long Pond. So I'm here to answer any questions you might have regarding this.
Question, are you planning on removing any of the existing stonework? I mean, actually taking it off site, or is it all going to be all replaced?
The existing stonework that's there is going to be removed. I am not sure whether that's leaving the site, but it is going to be removed and then backfilled and loamed and seeded along the shore there.
Do you have to remove it?
I think you'd have to get the basin of the wall.
Yeah, where the wall area is, we would have to. There's the option of leaving anything that's going to just be backfilled. I don't really have exact detail of what kind of large stones are there that would have to come out for the construction of the wall or anything like
Yeah,
that.
just to remove them, I suppose.
Mr. Chair, could I?
Certainly.
I mean, it looks like a lot of the work will be done in the resource area just because of the elevation of the base of the wall. I mean, it looks like the water level at certain times of the year is going up on the wall. I mean, I kind of feel like you should move the wall back 2 feet so that you're only working outside of the resource area. You can put silt fence and you know, just to lessen the impact. Just seems like that would be the wise thing to do.
Okay. That is definitely an option that we can take a look at.
And I'm not looking to say, move the wall back to that elevation 57 line. It's just, it seems like there's not even an option for silt fence. Like, we had something come through the board once where they were gonna put a boathouse, and there were like floats and things that were gonna retain the silt, and it was pretty extraordinary what they had to do. I don't wanna put you through to that level if they could live with a little bit less to gain more, and, you know,
Yeah, that's something that they can
simplifying the
explore.
process.
Yeah, that's an option that they can explore as well.
What is the protection? What's the protection of the lake in doing something like that? Because you're actually digging in the water, right?
Yeah. So we would have to do some sort of floats with silt barrier to protect any work or any sediment that.
Do you have any specs on that, on what?
I do not, no. No, that is something that we can provide though.
Mr. Chair, I think Joe.
You're well aware of what winter ice thinks of walls, right?
Yeah.
And it's not as much of a problem now as it used to be, but this is not a mortar wall. That's gonna stay there?
through the winter?
Yeah.
Okay.
You need a chapter 91 license to work in the water like that? No, you sure?
You don't need a 91, is it 91A? The- I think it protects the whole waterfront and the dock. Because I have one,
There you have one, yeah.
yeah, and I had to get one to maintain my waterfront. Did you guys apply to DEP?
Yes,
You did.
yep, so this is on the waterways format, so.
Okay.
Yep.
Any machinery gonna be actually in the pond, or are you working from the earth, from the?
You know, that's a good question. I actually don't have that information. I don't know whether they're gonna be on.
There are guys in the area who use, peanut oil for hydraulic oil and all that, organic stuff.
Mhm.
So you don't have any, petroleum products leaking into the water. You might wanna consider doing that too.
Okay,
And one of the things I'd like you guys to do is to go through all of this and get the client's name with a consistent spelling. There's Riberios and Ribeiro all over the place in here. Half of it says Riberio, the other half says Ribeiro. It's hard to tell from your handwritten signature, but the actual spelling is, what a nightmare this can be 14 years down the line.
oh, yes, yes.
Okay, somebody at the registry says, oh no, this is not the same,
Yep,
and then, the applicant is Gary Amaral, the owner is Suzanne Ribeiro, and then our legal notice says,
Riberio.
they say Ribeiro, and this mailing was sent Ribeiro. So whatever it is, lock it up.
we'll comb through and make sure.
Yeah,
everything-
comb through and get through it.
Exactly what did you put into DEP?
It is this waterways application.
You mean the NOI?
To DEP,
Did you include that with the NOI?
it should be, yes, included with the plan set.
Your small plan, by the way, says Ribeiro, but the
Oh, leave
Form
it?
3 notice of intent says Ribeiro. That's just, there's a couple of other places in here that are different. So whatever the spelling is,
Yeah, just for your information, the NOI application says Suzanne Ribeiro.
right.
The plan says Susan Ribeiro.
Susan's, yeah.
Okay.
So
Nancy, did you walk
unless
off
there's
with
two
my
different people.
stuff that I was here? Do you have an extra copy?
Maybe that's why you end up with so many copies.
Maybe that's why he's got the double copies.
Pass those down.
But my question still is,
Thank you.
this is a wetlands and waterways form, but it's a notice of intent. Is that what you mean? You didn't put anything extra to the DEP, like John's saying?
Yeah, I did not.
This is a wetlands and waterways form, but this is not what we were talking about,
Chapter 91.
chapter 91A. Is that what you said, John?
Yes.
Right, so, yeah, I get it, it's a wetlands and waterways form, but it's just a notice of intent.
Okay,
What I'm talking about is something else,
yeah, I'll
because
confirm
this
with the
is,
office and see exactly.
this is
where
pretty extensive in the water. And like Mark says, that we'd either probably have to move it back, or you wouldn't be able to even do this until we had a water level drop. Which we might not even have. After we just got 2 inches of rain.
How old, do you know how old the wall is, the existing one?
I do not.
No.
I do not know how old the existing wall is.
You're basically looking at like a riprap bank, right?
Yeah.
Current
yeah.
existing.
Yep.
So, do
Does
we need
anyone
to
else have-
continue?
I was gonna say, does anyone else have any additional questions? All right, do we want to close the hearing, or do we want to continue for more information? Listen to both sides.
Did we get a DEP number?
I didn't, did you?
Not that I know of.
No.
my opinion, I don't feel like we have enough information to make a decision.
I agree.
I don't think we should close it, I think it should be continued.
Right.
and-
No.
and
Yeah, I
Have
would
the applicant's
request a
representative
continuance.
kind of give us a little bit of feedback as to how they think they can proceed to, work with our comments tonight. You know, I do think the consideration to move the wall back would be wise, just because not only are you talking about work in the resource area, but you're also talking about, and I know probably when you talk about the whole of Long Pond, the flood portion of it, you're taking up and filling in a volume that's gonna push somewhere else. If you go right to the water edge, if you pulled it back, at least you're maybe displacing it upwards, but not to somebody else's property.
Well, the question is, how far back would you have to go to get out of the water?
But it's a pretty steep bank
I
there.
think that's,
What would you
One of
say
the
is in
things that makes
consideration
it
based
bump up.
on your elevations and your cross-section of
I
that?
had,
To at least give the guys maybe a 2-foot work area
It's gone.
inside silt fence.
Yeah, with a 2-foot work area, we can, what I'll do is I'll provide the plans, edge of water, and I'll show
Not
the
together with
2-foot
your-
offset from there,
oh, I also have a full
if we
sheet.
were to consider that.
Okay, and I would recommend to put on the
Okay.
plan whatever you propose for your siltation barrier.
Yes.
Have specs, I mean, if you want to come back and try to hold to the line that you're at, you know, show everything you
Show
can
them
on the
the
floats or,
Okay, thank you.
And then you come back, same name on everything.
Same name will be on everything.
And maybe talk to DEP to see if you need a, would you call it a 91A?
Yeah. Which is essentially, it's an application you have to fill out directly to DEP for, I know it's for a dock, but I believe it covers the waterfront too.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Okay.
So I'll take a look at that.
If you're not gonna take Mark's recommendation of moving it back, in this figure, it looks like you're at the toe of the riprap. In your diagram, it looks like you're further than the riprap.
Okay.
Just, I would like to see it at the toe, not further.
man,
That's-
does that probably vary along the length of the wall?
Yeah. Very, very.
So if we were to continue, what are you comfortable with? Because we need to continue to a meeting specific, as far as you being able to get the information requested tonight and to come back with everything you need. Is it 2 weeks from, our next meeting or 2 meetings from now?
Or you could leave it open-ended if you had, you know, if you needed the extra time.
Is the consideration of when you plan to do it at low water, near the end of the summer, early fall? Make it easier job to do if the water's down a foot.
Yes.
But you've already done your, I think Mark's right, you already did your, abutter notification, so if we don't give a time, how are those people gonna know to be watching?
I think you have to be meeting specific, even if you can't make it to the next one, you want it to be on the agenda for the next meeting, we'll motion to continue till then, and then just send notification to the chair to continue at your request, if
Yeah.
you can't get it for the next meeting.
I think continuing directly to the meeting after next. is-
So that's 2 weeks, right? Or are
Well,
we
No,
not?
that's a
meeting in
month.
July?
It's the second week in July.
Is our next meeting, but you're saying 2 meetings?
No,
We
he's
meet
saying to our
2
next
weeks.
meeting,
Okay,
which would be July 12th.
Second Tuesday, right?
Yep,
Right.
Yeah, that'll be fine. July
That's good,
12th.
okay.
so
right.
I'm moved to continue the 8 Paul Ave retaining wall plan, the notice of intent, until our July 12th meeting at 7 PM.
Second.
Any further discussion? No? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. I was gonna do it one by one, but that's okay. We-
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Unanimous anyway. Thanks.
That was reasonable.
thank you. I looked at
An
this
envelope
online, I
full of
didn't really
notices, is
look
it?
at the plan. Hard copy, looking online is not always easy.
Okay, next is another NOI. This is for 7 Woodview Drive.
Now, did you cash out of ZCE? Are you with Prime Engineering now?
I just saw that on there.
I know
Oh.
Jamie stopped to work with you, so I wouldn't doubt it.
Get a number on this one, Bob?
Just got it in today.
No,
Oh, you did?
did you? Okay.
But it's SC 192.
Should be 8877?
878.
Ah.
I had no comments.
All right, according to the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Wetlands Protection Act, there will be a hearing on a notice of intent by Roman Santos for the construction of a septic system with a new 1,500-gallon septic tank, a 1,000-gallon pump chamber, and a 40 infiltrator quick pour plastic chambers within 100 feet of a wetland and also within the flood zone A. Also included is the removal and decommission of the existing septic system on site. Location, the project is 7 Woodview Drive, Lakeville, map 15, block 3, lot 7. Public hearing will be held on Tuesday, June 28th at 7 p.m. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. For the record, now I'll take it from Tina. I'm here on behalf of Roman Santos, who's the property owner. We're here for a fairly simple septic repair. Good sized piece of property. Unfortunately, there are wetlands in the rear of the property. Here, located here, we're delineating them with wetland flags 1 through 7. And again, at the rear of the property here, the home is set way back off the road. The septic system, the existing septic system is located in the rear of the house as well, which is where we're looking at. We would let people go on the front, however, there's the well there. So you can see this big radius here that we're dealing with. So we weren't able to we wouldn't have been able to get the septic tanks or anything like that out of the buffer zone, so we just kept everything right there for simplicity.
Question?
Yes, wins 2 to 1.
Oh, is that right? 2 to 1?
Yes, wins 2 to 1.
Oh,
Wow.
okay. I'm shocked. Sorry.
That's okay, that was important.
You're dying to know.
Thanks, okay.
So again, the existing septic system's in the rear of the home, where the work is also located within a small portion of a zone A. There's no elevation demonstrated with that. It's just designated by the mapping, which is how we designate it on here. So what we proposed is a septic system, a 1,500-gallon 2-compartment septic tank with a 1,000-gallon pump chamber, as well as 40 infiltrated quick pour chambers. These are mounded up out of the ground a little bit. However, the grade drops off from the back of the house down to the wetland, so it'll be fairly a flat backyard, and then it'll drop off to that wetland. All that area will be loamed and seeded. We were able to get everything over 50 feet with the septic system itself, which is a Title V requirement. All the tanks that we're proposing are all monolithic H20 tanks, meaning they won't leak. All the covers and everything are watertight and securable, which is a Title V requirement as well. We are wrapping with a silt sock, which is typical in a situation like this. We've also proposed or provided a dewatering basin with a location on the plan, located here. Just in the event that we do encounter water during construction, we have somewhere to pump to.
Where is we pointed out again? I didn't.
The dewatering basin, it's actually located, see this hatched box here?
I got it.
Yep, it's right basically right where the tanks are essentially. If they need it, what they'll basically do is they'll dig the tanks out, they'll put that dewatering basin right next to it, pump right into it. The soils aren't the best of soils, they're okay, but they're not great in that area, so again, it is drying out. I know we just had a pretty good rainstorm, but the perks that I've been doing lately have been fairly dry, which is good, so, this is gonna be, if this does get approved, it will be being done within probably the next couple of 2 or 3 weeks, I would assume.
Is this approved by the
Which
Board of
test
Health?
pit are you
This was
using?
actually approved by the Board of Health today, I got notification
Which
today.
test pit are you using?
I'm using both.
You are using both, okay.
Yes. Yep.
Okay,
That's a good question.
That's for the soil analysis, right?
That's correct.
yeah, because there's a kind of difference there. One was, you would water at like 78, and the other one was at 92 or something like that. So
Yeah, it's because of the grade change.
grade change, yeah.
Yeah, so basically what's happening, in a till like this, it basically rides a certain elevation below grade, and then it just runs down. And it'll run that elevation typically. If it's sand, then it usually runs at the same elevation within reason.
Did the glaciers do wonderful things coming through?
Very wonderful things.
So does that mean the depth of excavation down to where you did the test was generally the same from the surface down?
That is correct.
Yeah.
That is absolutely correct. And as far as Title V goes, we always have to, utilize the highest water table that we find. So that's something that, again, we've done as well. Other than that, again, the whole area will be loamed and seeded for stabilization. We are, like I said, we are working in that flood zone a little bit, but it's very, very minimal. And with a zone A, there's no elevation determined, so there's no way of determining a flood. So what I did was I cut the grade back in the back here to try to compensate for that flood storage as best as possible. But again, I'm kind of dictated by what I have to do by Title V to make this work. So, right now the septic system's in the water table, and you know what I mean? And so we're essentially obviously just trying to make it better and compliant with Title V.
Now, when was that system originally put in? Mid-70s?
It was, I believe, in the late 70s.
Late 70s.
I believe, if my memory serves me correct.
So is this the raised system?
This will be raised up, but again, it is raised, but it's because, a lot of it's because of the fact that it drops off.
Because it drops.
So it's going to flatten out that backyard, and then.
Is that why
it'll
the
drop
pump?
it off.
Is that why the pump?
The pump is because of where the plumbing's coming out of the home. There's no way of getting it to that system without the pump.
I got you.
Oh, go ahead.
So I understand that this is a repair. It appears to me that this is a pretty big system. It's hard to see on the small plan that we have. Generally, is the old system in the same location or nearby the proposed leaching field that we're seeing on this plan?
That's correct. The existing septic system is actually located right almost in the same exact spot.
So some of that material will be removed,
Yes,
and then better material, higher elevation to do this new system that's,
that's absolutely correct. Yes, sir.
will tanks be reutilized or are they gonna be replaced, both?
No, they both have to be fully replaced.
Yeah.
They're in the water table, at least not the whole thing, but the portion of them are in the water table that requires them to be H20 for buoyancy purposes as well as monolithic, meaning it's a one pour, so there's less seams. The only seam you have will be where the riser hits the top of the tank. They'll seal that with either hydraulic cement or some sort of silicone, or I've seen a few different ways. They have rubber gaskets that they can put in as well. And then the cover itself is all rubber gasketed as well to ensure that it's watertight. Because that's a big thing in these instances that you have to deal with. So when it's in that water table, we really have to take, extra care.
It appears that other than regrading, all of your work is outside of 50 feet from the wetland line?
I would have been able to get it just about all out of 50 if it wasn't for that flood zone and trying to get that compensatory storage to try to use that as much as I could.
Yeah, that's, was it 89,000 square feet? Good sized lot.
It is a good sized lot, yes, that's correct.
Is this system bigger than the old one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these old systems were leaching pits. They were deep and very narrow. Again, back in the day, unfortunately, the idea was to get it into the water table.
Yes.
And that is not the case anymore.
And most of them were 330 max.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah.
You're gonna have enough room on the side of the house to the machine back there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. plenty of room over there. I mean, this is a 40 scale, I'm sorry, a 30 scale, so I mean, there's probably about 40 feet between that house and they might have to do a little trimming.
Yeah.
But we got the machine back there to do the park.
Okay.
You know, so yeah, there is definitely enough. But it's a good question. It's always something we have to deal with on these tight, you know, with some of these smaller tighter lots.
Yeah, they have a nice
Trouble
tree
when the
line.
machine gets stuck doing the perk.
That's never good.
Yeah, it looks like their tree line is right up against the driveway the whole way down.
Yeah, it is. It's set way back too, that's for sure.
Yeah, long driveway.
It is, yeah.
Yes, it is.
I hope he has a plow.
Are you seeding all the way back to the hay bale line?
Yes,
And just there, and then, all right.
that's correct. That's what we're proposing anyway, unless you have something that you'd rather see.
No,
Yeah, really, the seeding is really the way to go for proper stabilization, especially for the septic, for breakout purposes. Oh, something else I didn't mention either is, again, it's just because it's in the buffer zone. The septic system has a liner around it. That minimizes the grading.
You won't have any slope breakout in that.
Exactly, so that gets put at the top of the elevation, at the top of that line, it gets put at the top of the system elevation, and that allows us to pull that 15-foot breakout in to minimize grading within the buffer zone. So we've also proposed that as well, just, we're trying to obviously minimize as much as we can.
and I think it probably does say in our order, our standard order of conditions about not taking that hay bale line down until Bob looks at it, or they apply for certificate of compliance, because I wouldn't want that seed going
Yeah,
into.
that's standard,
Yeah.
yeah, that's in there.
Good point.
Anyone else have a question?
I have a compliment. I really like that you guys are doing the green and the red and the purple, so we're not struggling to figure out where.
It does make a difference, especially
Yeah,
on
it
the
does.
smaller,
We used to demand, not demand, but it used to be part of what we asked for, and then people kind of got away from it, but it does help a lot.
I mean, I know the plans pretty well, and sometimes I can't see the line if I don't put it in color, so I get it, I really do.
So what you're saying is you do it for you, not for us?
Absolutely. You draw that.
And while we're giving out compliments, the last time you were in, you had a plan, and you noted on the plan that when the landscaping was done, that the teeth marks from the backhoe would stay
Right.
in. I love that, because I do that with my hoe all the time. We make it dead smooth. You wonder why stuff doesn't grow in? Leave the grooves, and the stuff will plant and germinate like in 7 days.
Yeah. Just need to be able to sit there.
Yeah, it needs the roughness of the surface to hang on, otherwise even a little bit of water and everything flows.
More surface area,
Yeah.
for sure.
So, I think it's a good plan. I'm good.
okay then, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to close the hearing and issue an order of conditions with all our standard conditions.
Okay,
I second that.
motion and second. Other discussion? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Carries.
Thanks for coming in, Alice.
Thank you, guys.
As always, it's good to see people.
Yes.
Good to
No,
meet in
it's
person.
kinda nice.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Not at 8 o'clock, but.
You'll be up
Yeah,
past your.
really.
All right, let,
Your sleep time now, John?
We're getting close.
What's Goat Island, Mr. Chair?
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad you asked.
Yes.
We
Intrigues
had
me.
a call, last week from someone who works in an attorney's office. And she was complaining that she observed, activity on Goat Island, specifically a backhoe, a small orange Kubota type that was strapped to a pontoon boat, and then they floated it out to the island. And have you heard of this story? No. And they were doing some site work.
Really?
So,
Now, there are some buildings on Goat Island, right?
Which one is Goat Island?
just to back up a little bit, it's the smallest one.
Is that the one off at
The one close to.
Hemlocks?
Yeah.
No, that's
No?
not Goat Island.
No.
It's Cottage Lane, it's the end of Cottage
Cottage
and,
Lane.
Yeah.
So it's further
Plymouth
down,
Street.
it's like the second
Yeah,
island.
Plymouth
Yeah.
Street.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like 3 little cottages.
Right, right.
Yeah.
10, 12 years ago, they had a problem on the island. Do you remember? They wanted to build pavilion and
Yep, yep.
we stocked them.
Yep.
Okay, same guy, same owner. They took pictures, the residents that observed this, and you can see the backhoe sitting, it looks like it's in the water, but it's not, it's sitting on this boat. So anyway, I went out there and I said, how am I gonna get out there to?
Should've called me.
Yeah.
Take you out.
John would run his boat right up there.
So I'm standing on the end of Plymouth and looking out over the water, and the car drives up. Woman gets out, starts emptying out equipment, says, "Can I help you?" I said, "No, I'm just trying to figure out a way to get onto the island." She goes, "Oh, well, I'll take you." Perfect timing,
Her boat was tied up right there?
They had a boat right there. Boat was a little sketchy.
But that's why they pay you the big bucks.
Climbing in and out, I had my reservations. But anyway, they took me out, and sure enough,
Is
the
Lewis Island?
backhoe was gone, but you
Oh,
can
no,
see
that's-
you can
All right,
see
so
where
it's way down the southern end of the lake. Okay,
the slope has been reworked.
thank you.
There's some rocks.
What are they trying to do, do you think? Well, did
I
she
think they want
explain
to
to
put in
you?
a dock. They had you could see parts of a, what do they call it?
One of the rolling docks?
Yeah, not necessarily rolling, but something that was removable.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what's been going on.
No permit, no DEP?
No, nothing.
Who's the owner of the property?
Twin brothers
Oh, can't remember that
is the
name.
name. We do have a name, but anyway, we sent them not a notice of violation, but
Come talk to us, notice.
exactly.
Does anyone live presently on the island? Is that a year-round
No,
dwelling?
it looks like there's been other work that's been done on the other side of the island, on the north side, but we couldn't go there because of the rocks. There's only one very tiny opening all around the island where you can actually
Get on
reach
the
a
island.
boat, yeah. Oh, the other thing is, not only is it a violation of the Wetlands Protection Act, because the entire island is in the buffer zone.
Of course.
So that automatically triggers, but Long Pond is a public water
Public
supply.
water supply.
So I called DEP and they said, "You might be interested in this." And I was kind of disappointed in their reaction. They said, no, it's a local, you handle it. Okay, I'll handle it, but when there's a spill, where are you gonna come crying to?
Yeah.
Because what about the hydraulic fluid? What about the diesel fuel?
Yeah.
That's sitting out there, just waiting to, keel over, and then you're gonna be pointing the finger at us for not doing anything.
Oh, it was still strapped on the pontoon boat?
You can see it in the pictures. It wasn't there when I went out there, but in the pictures that these people took, you could see it, that it was,
That's interesting.
Yeah.
How do you get a Kubota off a pontoon boat?
No, you work it off the pontoon boat.
Yeah, onto what?
they took the seats out, so it's basically
Yeah,
it's a
well, I
raft
would imagine
or
that,
a barge.
but the pontoon boats sit up pretty high.
Yeah. I went up and down.
But that much weight,
Put a Kubota on it, sink it down a little bit.
I went up and down all those little side roads looking for traces of, where they might have kept their equipment. People were very nice, they let me park. But
Town of Lakeville's gotta love watching this part of the meeting.
so that's the story on Goat Island.
Okay, so we're waiting to hear
So,
back.
we're still in process on that one?
So, well, I sent them a letter, and we'll see if they respond, or if not, we'll go to the next step.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about 2 and 4
Bedford Street?
Bedford Street.
Okay, that project has
Come back to
resurrected.
life?
Yeah. They sent us a letter, not a whole lot of information, but a letter saying they've reviewed it, they want to downsize by 10%. They were gonna reduce not the number of spaces, but the size of the impervious cover by 10%. What else? But anyway, I'm gonna send out a packet tomorrow, so you'll all see the site plan. There's really no change in the plan, just the overall size.
So the building stays the same, but the
Building stays the
impervious
same,
is less.
What are we talking about?
The tenant
Wait,
is
is this-
Two
actually,
Bedford Street?
Is this
The old A-frame?
Raoul and
Have you
Chapin
seen
Island?
it?
Is that
Yes,
the one?
yes.
Okay,
Parento.
where the old
Parento.
A-frame was.
there were two engineers over time.
Has planning board received
I
that?
was just gonna say it, yeah, you have
Okay.
new plan, because
Just went through us.
Did they say they had Concom approval?
I think that was a conditional thing.
Because we did approve it like it was, but you say you got a new plan?
Yeah,
Okay.
it hasn't changed much,
I
but
thought we approved it, but it hadn't been approved by the
The-
planning
Well,
board.
the plan that we saw was much different than the first plan.
Right.
There was an,
Oh, yes, in the
there
first-
was an elevated parking lot in the back, with a
Right.
retaining wall. It was much scaled back.
do we want to consider having a peer review, give it a second look? Since they,
What the plan looked like. It was much improved over what it was.
Mhm.
I never understood that humped up parking area in the back.
Well, we'll have to
I
approve it
think the
again.
septic was under that.
Is that,
We'll have to approve the current plan, so don't they need to come to us too?
I would imagine.
Yeah.
I
Change
think
like
that's what
that.
they're looking for, whether or not we're gonna just let it go, or ask them for.
Oh, we haven't seen it.
Yeah, how can you?
Have you seen the plan?
No, I just got it.
I would say you want to just tell them to file and get them on the
Right.
agenda. Because it's a significant improvement from what we saw in round one. And it is significantly different. So it's definitely something we all want to look at. But like I say, it's much improved. There's much more green space. There's much more growing area, because that was a requirement that we needed for
'cause there was a
just
lot of
the
coverage.
density bonus stuff, yeah.
And
And
it's
so they
been
had-
approved by the planning board? Okay.
probably
They
be-
had much more landscaping.
Oh, you like that.
And rain garden, weren't they putting a couple of rain gardens in there or something?
They had that in the previous
In the
one.
previous one?
Yeah.
Mark, did they say anything about who the new tenant is?
So there were gonna be, I think, at least 3 rental spaces. They had one prospective tenant called North Star Mechanical.
Okay.
But then the first space closest to Bedford Street is going to be a restaurant. But again, I don't know that he has a tenant, but he's just designing it, I think,
Okay.
on speculation that he'll get a restaurant tenant in that one. So I think that, unless I'm mistaken, so if there's 3, there's 1 middle space that's not spoken for, unless there are 4 spaces, the 2 middle spaces were not spoken
It's
for.
curious, you know where the drive-in portion is, where they're gonna have the luncheonette or
Yep.
whatever it is right next to where the dumpsters are.
Well, we had them pull the dumpsters
Back.
back on the other side of the pavement. So there were some changes, so maybe they wanted to get these changes that we approved the
Okay.
planning board onto the plan for you to see, because there was some concerns of people pulling in that
That's-
northernmost
that's my-
entrance
Yeah.
and going behind the building, so we had some concerns about wrong-way traffic, because most of that design was for truck flow to come around
Which is right next to
right
the-
to that outside seating area.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
so
So that's the status.
that'll be upcoming.
So I'll be sending out tomorrow. the,
Wasn't there talk about looping Middleborough in on this?
Yeah, because
Didn't
it
we
butts right up
discuss
against
that?
Middleborough.
We send them a notice. that
Yeah,
this is
but if
going
it's a
on.
new plan and stuff, they're gonna, it's their wetland.
Well, let's look
We
at the
had at
plan
least one
first.
abutter in, right?
We had notified them.
I
He
remember.
didn't come in
We
to the
did,
planning board
He
hearing.
was in the planning board.
And he was most concerned, he came into our hearing the first time, because we're required to put up screening between business and residential properties, and they showed that, they have the screening on the plan, which was on it the first time
And that
around.
abutter was concerned about evil doings behind the building at night or something like that, I remember.
Yeah, and I think that, getting rid of the elevated parking lot
Got rid of that,
solved a
yeah,
lot of
solved the
that too.
problem, yeah.
so was Middleborough notified as an abutter?
I would
I'm pretty
imagine
sure they
so,
were.
if they're on the abutters list.
Okay,
Pretty sure they
well,
were.
they didn't last
It'd have
time.
to be, yeah.
I'll look into it.
Okay. So what would we need to, they don't need to file a whole NOI again?
No,
They
just
would do an
come in
amended
and-
order of
and
conditions.
Amended order of conditions.
Yeah. Ask them to come in and explain and, yeah.
Did we
And
have
if it's
original
better,
order
that's
conditions?
good, because you had problems with it in the first place anyway, I think.
Well, they were almost exceeding the density bonus stuff, they were at or over 70%
Right,
lot coverage, and they had no landscaping at all.
right,
And
right.
that's a requirement, is the 60 to 70% lot coverage is, we require nice
Yep.
landscaping to
Yep.
achieve that,
Aesthetic.
well, you're looking for the landscape
pop-up.
aesthetics in order for us to allow the additional 10% of coverage. But they assumed, the first time they came in, they assumed, we'll go right to 70.
Yeah,
The building looked okay, but there was
Yeah.
not a tree on the site. It was all either pavement or existing edges.
But then they came back with a pretty nice plan, right, with
Yeah, yeah,
landscaping
yeah.
and whatever. All right, so,
So we're not looking for any additional review, any additional peer review, is that correct?
I'd say we need to look at it.
yeah, I think,
We gotta
yeah, I
look
don't think
at
you
it
can
first.
decide
Yeah, make sure
before
we're
you.
all on the same.
Didn't we ask about a 21E for this as well, for the garage in the back?
I had brought that up early on
Yeah,
because
me
of the
too.
garage that was
Right.
in the back. Do a 21E, find out if there's any old motor oil soaking into the
Yeah,
ground.
but is that in our,
There was an existing well that we made them decommission. They have to fill in with bentonite so that you don't recontaminate the aquifer.
Are they using like town water of some
Yeah, I
sort?
believe
there?
they are
Tying
tapping in.
into the
Yep.
water line that goes down the road.
I believe
Yeah.
so, if memory
I
serves
thought
me.
it came from Middleborough Circle in.
Yeah, the high pressure line goes up Bedford Street. I don't
Yeah.
think you can tie into that one.
Don't know.
Well, that's a question to ask.
Find out.
Before us.
All right, so,
Minutes?
no, before that, Nancy had a question on, another.
See you, Niles.
Come again.
Yeah, under
Bring a
the,
friend.
if issues requiring immediate attention of the Conservation Commission
yeah.
arise,
Yeah.
I'm arising. A woman called,
She came in to,
and Niall said she went to see him too. I think to look at a plan. But, this is on Beach Tree Drive. You might remember from the frog pond and all the drainage and stuff,
Across the
the
street from
problems
me.
that we had down there. Anyway, so, maybe we can pass
there are
these
probably
around,
12
these two.
properties on.
Yeah, when the woman called, I went down and looked, and the property owner is not only dumping his,
saw them. You good?
I'll start these at this side,
Grass.
not only dumping his stuff directly into the wetland, but
Oh.
he's storing
Oh.
his stuff into the wetland.
That fuel tank?
Yeah,
Oh.
Of course it is.
that's
Yeah.
gasoline.
It's 3 fuel tanks, really.
Yeah.
There was also a giant pile, I didn't bring the, pile because I think I called the fire chief, but he didn't call me back. I think he already made him move it because there's a large pile of gravel. Was in the middle of the road, was it?
It's half and half.
It's off now.
Oh,
I have a
okay.
feeling that the fire chief told him that the ambulance couldn't get down there, so he had to put, but he's pushed it off closer to the wetland, and he's started to like spread it out a little bit.
Well, in his yard or?
No, across the street in the wetland.
Yeah.
Do we know who's doing it? Who's
Yes.
We
stuff
don't know
this
who's
is?
doing it.
Yes, we do. And I printed out an enforcement order because I think that we ought to send an enforcement order.
You good with that, Mr. Chair?
Hmm?
You good with that?
Actually, no, but
What would you prefer?
I think we should send them a notice first.
Give them an opportunity to get it out of there, clean it up?
Mhm.
I agree.
I mean, that's how we treat everybody else, and as long as it's
Don't go straight to
an
the,
imminent hazard.
You give them a date, a
We give
time,
them a time, all right.
quick time to do it. All
I
right?
think that it would be reasonable to say 1 week.
What do
You're
you-
talking about grass clippings and a pile of gravel that he just put there. He had the means to push it.
Yeah,
But
just-
wait 1 sec, please.
Go ahead.
All right. You don't leave it up to him, how to get that grass and stuff out of there. What if he goes in with an excavator and pulls it out? The whole idea of an enforcement order is to tell him how he needs to tell us how he's gonna do it.
without doing it any other.
Damage to the
damage,
wetland.
right.
There's no, that's what an enforcement order is all about. You give him, say, a week to get it out. He could go in there with the backhoe and pull it out. And now you're in the wetland again. That's what an enforcement order is for. You could call him up and explain it's coming and why. But you don't leave it up to him to decide how he's gonna get it out. The jet skis and the gas, he could just take
Well,
out of there.
how would it get out of there? By hand?
Probably.
Why don't we just tell them that? You gotta take it out by hand.
Then we have no backup.
But a letter should say, hey, don't do any more.
First of all, what you're doing is wrong,
What you do is wrong.
all right? And we've got the authority to tell you.
Yeah.
You've got to do something about it. We're going to give you a chance to fix it to our satisfaction, or we're going to go to the next step. If that's an enforcement order, then fine.
All right, so how is he gonna know it's our satisfaction? You gonna tell him to
Well,
come to
I
a
would
meeting?
explain.
We can
Can't do any
itemize
further
it,
damage in the wetlands.
you know. And it goes, it's a little more than just the the gravel, and there's a couple of boats. He parks a couple of pickup trucks. There's jet skis.
Oh, geez.
So it's, it's up and down the road. It's not just that one lot that's impacted.
Well, he owns a couple, I think he owns 5 and 7 too,
If it was
besides
just,
8.
if it was just grass clippings, I could see sending him a letter, but it sounds like it's a lot more than just grass clippings.
It is,
Even, yeah, I think he needs to come and tell us how he's gonna remove it without destroying the resource.
Mhm.
Well, I think the quickest way to address it would be would you be able to go out there as the agent, Bob, and try to talk to him? Or would you rather send a letter?
I think no matter what you do, you gotta make a paper trail. You have to have.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you call him or talk to him first, but then back it up with a letter. Exactly what you said and what he agreed to.
I mean, you can bring the letter with you. If you wanna go and talk to him.
Well, I would leave it up to,
At least do
Bob.
a green card.
I would leave it up to Bob to address it as he sees fit, and I think we should give him the authority, if needed, to write an enforcement order if he feels like when he sees it, but if he feels that he can get it resolved in a proper manner in a reasonable amount of time, that he could do that either through direct contract or a letter.
I second that motion.
Yeah, I'd be more comfortable with that approach. If it was an imminent hazard.
I mean, he's our eyes and ears, and I
Yeah.
trust that what he sees is
I agree.
What's his last name?
Nashawati.
That's not right.
I
So,
agree.
I will take the soft approach to begin with. I'll give him a time frame and get him out there as soon as possible.
Do we need an official vote for this?
And make sure
Yes,
that
we
he
do.
tells you how he's gonna get it out of there.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
What do you think of this? Why don't we, since you've got the form, why don't we sign it? If we're all in agreement, sign
Okay.
it. And then
If you need to do
I
it.
want to take action right away, if he's reticent, and
Yeah, that's fine.
we'll do that?
Sure.
Okay.
I'd rather see you more prepared than hamstrung to be able to go out there and address it, so yeah.
What is the condition of the trucks that he's storing in there?
Oh, they're not, they're new, they're not
They're- okay.
junk or anything.
Okay.
There was an old truck there when I was
Yeah,
there.
Oh, there's more than one, that's, yeah,
The truck he normally drives is a big four-wheel drive Ford, I believe.
yeah.
But that's also parked on that other side of the street.
Yeah, and then there's another thing, there's work going on the house as well. It's not just what's in the yard. And so that's strictly speaking is in the buffer zone as well. So we could.
So do we need official action, a vote, or a official motion?
We should vote yes, and.
So
yes,
I
sign
move,
that.
I move to give Chairman Bouchard as the agent the authority to address this situation as needed to enforce and rectify the issues on site of these violations.
And was it 5?
5 or
8.
7?
8.
I second that.
Okay, motion made, seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so that's that, and that's the signature page. Now, there's 3 signature pages here for what we did tonight, and one from prior that was damaged when it was delivered, so we just need to replace it. So put that as well.
Well, we're starting to sign. Do we want to go through the minutes, Mr. Chair?
Why don't we?
All right. I had a chance to review, and we actually saw it at the planning board as well, that joint meeting for, now I gotta find it. The April 20th, 2022 joint meeting between the Board of Selectmen and all other respective boards, which Concom is part of. As I said, I looked through them. Joe, did you have any concerns or?
Didn't notice anything I had any concerns about.
So I make a motion to approve the select board joint meeting minutes for April 20th, 2022 as drafted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Good.
Aye, sorry.
That's all right.
Are you Ken?
What was the address of this place?
Eight?
Beechwood?
Beech Tree,
Beech Tree,
Each tree, don't go to the wrong place.
right across from Joe's.
right across from me, yep.
And to complicate things a little more, there are two different, remember this? Two different homeowners associations.
Right.
With differing overlapping jurisdictions.
Overlapping jurisdictions, the houses that have been
Sweet.
there for a while, and then the new ones.
Yeah, that's why there's a lot going on in those lots. I think there must be at least 10 different lots that we've
Oh.
dealt with.
Yeah, I don't think there's much down there we haven't had some dealings with.
And that's still a private road.
Yes, and
Oh, yeah.
in fact, that's when I left it.
Because
course,
it
your
never
buddies
has
out
any
there.
finished coat or any, I mean, it's just still kind of a mess. Although the drainage
Further
looks
missed
good
one.
on the corner, but we had all the trouble. Looks like it's draining anyway.
Oh, I left you the top part.
Joe, did you find anything with the other minutes?
Nope.
Oh,
So they look good to me.
Yep.
Looks like everybody that's here was present, so I make a motion to approve the March 29th, 2022 Conservation Commission meeting minutes as drafted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
hey.
Thank you, sir.
You gotta start bringing a pen, I always bring a pencil.
Yeah, that's two in a row. You didn't bring a pen.
Well, that's
I need to get
because
my
I can
hot
erase with a pencil. Right?
You see, we did it in under an hour.
Would've been better if that hour
Is that-
started an hour ago.
Does that conclude business, Mr. Chair?
Yes, it does.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Was somebody opposed there?
I thought I saw a hand.
Don't look at me.
I did first.